Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Mike Siever. In this video I want to talk about the supplements that I take personally for my sleep that I think can benefit a lot of the population out there getting poor sleep. And having struggled with poor sleep most of my life, really from the point where I was a teenager on, I always had poor sleep. And when I started taking on a lot of clients, my stress levels got high. I was often training till past 8 p.m. at night, waking up really early in the morning, 5:30 a.m. And my stress levels were just really high. I wasn't getting sleep. There'd be 2-3 nights a week where I might be up almost the whole night, not really getting even into a state of sleep, just kind of like, half falling asleep or so, really struggling with that. And I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be laying in bed and just have all your thoughts running from that day and from work and your business and stress and family, and you just can't seem to turn your mind off. And now this is really dangerous because your brain really needs to get really deep sleep in order to reset and rebuild the neural networks and the neurons and all your subconscious wiring that was firing throughout the day. So in my case, I ended up getting really poor sleep, really overstressed. I ended up with chronic fatigue, all sorts of negative symptoms, anxiety and mental fog and things like that. And through a proper bedtime ritual and assisting my body with some natural supplements, I've really gotten my sleep down pat now, and I fall asleep within 5 minutes every night. Even if I only get 5 or 6 hours, it's very deep sleep. I've never slept deeper than this in my life, and I just feel like I'm sleeping off fatigue. My health is improving by the day, the week, and the month, and I couldn't feel any better about this, so I thought I'd share it because this is something that a lot of my clients struggle with. And I've seen people, when work stress increases and their sleep quality becomes more poor and their sleep quality goes down, they end up putting on weight. They end up getting a lot of anxiety, nervous tension, crashing at work. And this can lead to a lot of issues professionally with your family, and it can lead to a nervous breakdown. And I believe if you look at what people say about sleep in America now, most people report having some poor quality sleep in the past week. It's really becoming an epidemic, and people don't realize that their sleep could be much, much deeper. And this is kind of what this video is about. What supplements, what natural minerals and herbs you can take to help your body unwind and get much deeper sleep. Alright, so the first thing we have to realize when it comes to sleep is that we have two branches in the nervous system. We have our sympathetic branch, which is our fight or flight response, which is our go-go mode. That would be fire, thinking, activity, that masculine energy, that yang energy. And most of us get stuck in a sympathetic state. We're in a chronic state of stress. Our cortisol, the stress hormone cortisol, and adrenaline and noradrenaline, these hormones are all secreted by the adrenal glands, and they get chronically elevated. Now what happens is, instead of winding down properly as we evolved, when the sun goes down and it's dark, there's no light, there's no electronic pollution, there's no cell phones in front of our face till we go to sleep, we literally would just start releasing melatonin as soon as the sun went down. Our cortisol levels would begin to drop and we'd fall asleep deeply and naturally. Unfortunately, modern day living doesn't make that so easy, and now we're often on our phones late at night. We're thinking about work late, we're getting home late, we're eating really late, and all these things keep our cortisol high, and artificial light keeps melatonin from being released. So it's really important that we learn to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the branch of our nervous system that's related to yin, or the feminine energy, hydration, rest, digestion, and assimilation. And if we can hit the right switches to turn on the relaxing part of our nervous system, it's way easier to wind down. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to teach you the tricks of how to turn on your off switch. And a lot of people don't know this information, and it could really help people prevent illnesses, diseases, in the sense that it can really help restore a deep and restful sleep. And studies have shown that sleep is the #1 thing to do for recovery, boosting your hormones, losing weight, decreasing stress. And if you want to train and strength train aggressively, if you're not getting proper sleep, you might as well not even do it. And that's not an understatement. So the first thing we have to do is, like I was just saying, is we have to turn on our off switch and lower our cortisol levels. And the best thing to do to lower our cortisol levels is to raise melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that's produced by the pineal gland, and it signals that it's time for our body to wind down, start going to sleep. It's also been found to have antioxidant properties, help repair the nervous system, get us into that deeper REM sleep. As I just stated, when we're on our cell phones, when we're eating sugary foods, or we're under stress, our cortisol remains too high. So if we take a little bit of melatonin, cortisol naturally goes down. So I'm going to start a little out of order here and talk about melatonin. So you want to take anywhere from 1 milligram to 3 milligrams of melatonin. I believe it is a perfectly fine therapeutic dose. All the literature shows that melatonin is relatively safe. I haven't really found any research showing that it has harmful effects or side effects besides a little drowsiness in the morning. Now, melatonin, some people think if you supplement melatonin, your brain's going to stop making on your own. It could have detrimental side effects. I'm not one of those people, because I believe the negative effects of not getting deep sleep are going to have cascading hormonal effects in your system that are going to be far worse than if you just take 1 milligram of melatonin to help you get into a deep REM sleep. And I just like to take 1 milligram of melatonin personally, dissolve it under my tongue, and that just helps your body get into a deeper sleep where you can actually continue producing melatonin as you sleep. And again, that little bit of melatonin is pushing cortisol down. It's signaling to your body that it's time to wind down and go to bed. So I use Source Naturals melatonin 1 milligram tablets. I think it's perfectly fine to go up to maybe 3 milligrams of melatonin. I personally don't think you need those 10 milligram, those mega doses of it. Again, I like to use it just 1 milligram just to help my body along a little bit, and I want my own natural melatonin production to kick in as I get more relaxed, as I do my bedtime ritual, and as I start sleeping. And as I just mentioned, I don't think there's any problem with taking a low dose of melatonin. This is my personal experience. I think getting proper sleep is number one above all, because the medical drugs that people take to sleep, Ambien and all these other things, Tylenol, PM, all that, those are far more harsh than taking a little boost of natural hormone to help you unwind. So if we can avoid that, I think that this is ultimately the way to go. So the next thing is calming herbal teas. I use the Yogi brand, and if you see here, these are my 2 favorite teas, is the Egyptian licorice and the bedtime tea. And the bedtime tea has a ton of relaxing herbs that have been used for thousands of years for relaxation, specifically passion flower, valerian. It has some licorice, cinnamon, very, very calming, soothing herbs that help cool the system, cool the body, and unwind it. And licorice has been used by naturopaths and functional medicine practitioners. Licorice is used often to treat adrenals that are under high stress and help soothe those fatigued, overworked adrenals that are producing cortisol too high. And I really like using these teas in combination. These yogi teas are really high quality herbs. They're organic herbs, they're herbal blends. These can just help relax your body, relax your mind. You have to choose what herbs you really like. I really love licorice. It kind of has a sweet compound in it that helps me with my sugar cravings. And I find it super soothing, winds down my system. You have to find what works for you, but any herb, chamomile, valerian, these things that have been used for a long time to help relax the body can potentially help stimulate GABA receptors in the brain, which is a relaxing neurotransmitter, which will help calm your system. So I think this is a great part of your bedtime ritual. So in my bedtime ritual, I have this about an hour before I go to bed, or a half hour before I go to bed. I just sip my tea, and it's a really, really great thing to do to help unwind. Again, obviously you're going to pick a caffeine-free tea, because we don't want the caffeine to stimulate us before we're trying to go to sleep. The next supplement I think that's really important to take for sleep is zinc. And I believe a lot of people are deficient in zinc because just the environment we live in these days, heavy metals, environmental toxicity, air pollution, artificial foods, sugars, all of these things can compete with zinc for their roles in binding with proteins and the cellular reactions. Zinc is the second most abundant trace mineral in the body, and it's responsible for loads of functions with the brain, the nervous system, cellular reactions, recovery. And research has actually shown that those who have the highest concentrations of zinc in their hair report getting the deepest sleep. Zinc has been shown to boost the immune system. I just think it's a really beneficial mineral for people to take. I take it in a food-based form, so this is not a synthetic zinc. Typically, with your supplements, you have to go with brands that are endorsed by healthcare practitioners. You might actually have to go through a doctor to get them. You don't want to use a cheaper quality synthetic vitamin. I use food-grade zinc, and I believe anyone could take 30 milligrams a day or even before bed, and with no negative side effects personally, because I think, as I mentioned, we tend to be deficient in zinc from the toxicity of our environment, heavy metals and the crap food. All these things displace the natural quantities of zinc. And if you're not eating an organic diet, there's a good chance you're not getting enough of this essential mineral. So it's really good for helping to unwind the body. Again, it's great for nervous system recovery, repair, and detoxing. So I highly recommend taking 30 milligrams of food-based zinc before bed. The next supplement is Calm, which is a natural form of magnesium citrate. And I want to talk about magnesium in detail because magnesium, I believe, is probably the most important thing you could do out of all of this when it comes to your sleep. Magnesium is believed to be deficient in between 60 and 80% of people. That's what the literature says. A great book to read for more information on magnesium is The Magnesium Miracle. There's also Dr. Mildred Seelig. If you look up their work, it is phenomenal on magnesium research, and it shows how most of us are chronically deficient. We're not getting enough magnesium, and magnesium is so critical because it balances out calcium. And with all these calcium fortified foods, dairy, yogurts, it's even in orange juice, cereal, we're often deficient in magnesium, and calcium fires the cells and fires our nervous system, but magnesium tells it to relax and to turn off. So commonly I get clients saying they have muscle cramps, twitching at night, trouble sleeping, anxiety, restless legs, and just really a hard time relaxing at night, and magnesium helps to stimulate the branch of the nervous system that helps us relax. So magnesium, I believe, is so critical for proper cellular function. It's involved in over 300 cellular reactions. It's estimated in the book, The Magnesium Miracle, that it's involved in over 800 enzymatic reactions. It's involved in energy production in the Krebs cycle. Magnesium is needed for everything. And the reason we're not getting enough of it in our diets is that the soil quality has been depleted through pesticides and industrial agriculture. So even if you're eating organic, you may not be getting enough magnesium, and especially if you eat a ton of calcium fortified foods, or you're taking a calcium supplement or have taken a calcium supplement in the past, chances are your magnesium level is going to be low. Since I started taking the magnesium, I fall asleep within 5 minutes every night. And that never happened in my life. So I believe I was magnesium deficient. I had some symptoms of it, muscle soreness, restlessness at night. So I take the Calm Magnesium here. I take the Calm Magnesium and I'll actually put it into my tea, about a tablespoon every night, and it's just a great supplement. I really recommend researching more into magnesium. My last trick when it comes to improving your sleep is to take a high quality extract of valerian root, such as the one made here by Gaia Herbs. This is a great company. They do testing on all their herbs. It's all organic. It's a high potency herbal blend. It's not the cheap stuff that won't work. I've found that taking between 500 milligrams and 1,000 milligrams of valerian every night really helps calm my body. I've actually used valerian root as a muscle relaxant to calm my system down, and this really works well. Now the research isn't completely clear on valerian, but it probably has something to do with stimulating GABA receptors, which is again the relaxing neurotransmitter. So valerian root works really well. Now again, with these things, people often only take one of these things at a time, or they take a crappy cheap supplement, or they don't take a big enough dose, and they think that these things don't work, which is a real shame, because then they often don't get good sleep, or they go to a more harsh medical drug like Ambien, and these things have loads of side effects, people sleepwalking, doing crazy things. So again, I want to try and avoid that and boost, if you're not sleeping, there's natural things you can do to boost that. So in the case of valerian, it's going to boost your GABA receptors, which is a neurotransmitter that relaxes the system. Now, going back to the combination of these things, I'll use all of these things in one night. And now, I want to reference a study that I actually found that shows, it was a Korean study that was done that showed the combination of melatonin, zinc, and magnesium helped sufferers with bad insomnia and markedly and noticeably improved their sleep, which is really big for a study. Most of them are very vague and inconclusive, but it showed melatonin, zinc, and magnesium greatly improve sleep. And the reason for that is if you're deficient in melatonin, zinc, or magnesium, or zinc and magnesium specifically, you don't have the right minerals to balance out the excitation minerals, such as calcium and all the sugars and the stress and all these things we're exposed to in modern day living. So if you're deficient in zinc and magnesium, your nervous system isn't going to be able to counteract these other minerals and turn off properly at night. Without magnesium, our body cannot relax deeply, and it cannot recover post-workout. Magnesium tells our body it's time to relax. So if you're deficient in magnesium or zinc, which most of us are, I believe, we're going to have a lot of problems unwinding at night, getting into that deep restorative sleep. So in a way, even taking Ambien, Tylenol PM, and all these things, or even just melatonin by itself, if you have a mineral deficiency, could just be masking the problem, because zinc and magnesium are essential minerals for health. We need them in higher concentrations that we're getting through a depleted diet because of the soil depletion. So the way I look at it is I want to tackle it from all angles. I want to give my body the root of what it needs to calm down, to calm my nervous system down and to recover. And I truly believe zinc and magnesium are your best bets. Anecdotally, thousands and thousands of people report extremely deep sleep. That's why the magnesium product, again, I have is called Calm. People report extremely deep sleep levels, improvements in their sleep. They even sell zinc and magnesium supplements that people take to help them sleep at night post-workout. So there's a reason for that. It's because these trace minerals, again, they balance out the other crappy minerals in our diets. Zinc, for example, without enough zinc, will absorb too much lead from the environment, will absorb heavy metals. Magnesium, again, counterbalances calcium, so important. So now this might seem like a lot if you're just getting into supplementation, you don't really understand the chemistry behind it, but it's really not. And just for example, my girlfriend never really had problems with sleep, and she always considered herself a good sleeper, but even she's reported excellent improvements in depth and quality just by half a dose that I take of valerian and supplementing with magnesium. Because she works out a lot, chances are she had a slight deficiency in magnesium and could just use a little boost. And just adding this mineral, taking a little valerian to help unwind at night has improved the depth of her sleep. And when your sleep gets deeper, you don't even realize that it might not have been as deep as it could possibly be before, because you weren't sleeping deep to begin with, and that just becomes the norm. One final note I want to say is that having a ritual at night is extremely important. Since I've implemented a ritual to help me sleep, my sleep has gotten infinitely better. About an hour before I'm ready to go to bed, I'll make my tea with my magnesium, I'll take my zinc, and I'll pop my valerian. Maybe I'll watch TV or read for a little longer. Then I'll get up, I'll dissolve my melatonin under my tongue, do my oral care, floss, brush my teeth. Then I take a hot and cold shower every single night. And once I get out of the shower, I go in bed and read for 20-30 minutes. And by the time I close my book and put it down, I'm asleep. And I do this ritual every single night. And this has been the biggest routine that's helped my life in the past couple of years, is really just getting my bedtime ritual down. But before I added in the magnesium and the zinc and the valerian and melatonin to help me turn on my off switch, if you will, you have to activate your off switch, I wasn't getting deep sleep at all. So I highly recommend this supplement protocol. Again, what you're going to want to do is get your magnesium levels up, get your zinc levels up. The clinical research shows that they're deficient in most of us. Very, very important for relaxing the body. And then take a little melatonin and the herbs just to further relax and get into that really deep sleep. So thanks for watching. My name is Mike Sieber, and I'll talk to you soon.